I don't even know how to begin this video without just saying we got some really big things to talk about. A lot of you had hopes that the sequel trilogy was not going to happen, even though it already happened. You were hopeful that the World Between Worlds from Star Wars Rebels was going to happen, that the New Republic era, the Mando show, Ahsoka, and all that was not going to lead to the sequel trilogy. And it's already been, debunked. It's not happening. A lot of people are still holding out hope. And it was just confirmed today. We got confirmation. We've got their plan. We know exactly what it is. And there's a recent development on this plan moving forward for Lucasfilm, and that's what we're going to get into. And it's a sad day, but at least we know what is happening. So let's get into it. Welcome back to Echo Base Network. Coach here. Please give us a like, share, subscribe to the channel, become a member. Do everything. We need your help, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's jump into this thing and get going. So this video was just released today over at Star Wars official YouTube page. Let's listen to the words of Dave Filoni.
All right.
That's
yes.
really good. Yeah.
Speaking of all those Mandalorians that we're going to see in season 3, how do you map where all those factions are, who they are, where they come from in the galaxy?
Whiteboards.
That's true.
Whiteboards.
Back to the whiteboards.
Whiteboards and tresters.
Yeah.
Now pay attention. Filoni's about to drop what many of us have been fearful of. It happens. Here we go.
It goes beyond just those groups, right? So John and I know we're in this time period post Return of the Jedi that, in some...
John and I know we're in this time period post Return of the Jedi. That's key. He's sitting next to Favreau. John and I know we're in this post Return of the Jedi era. What does he say next?
In some ways we think of as all the way up to episode 7.
All right, let's rewind that and play that again.
This time period post Return of the Jedi that, in some ways we think of as all the way up to episode 7.
In some ways, we think of all the way up to episode 7. He just drew a connection right there, folks. We're in the time period after Return of the Jedi, before episode 7. He skirted around it a little bit, but he said it. Now, let's see what Favreau has to say.
So you had clues from what we knew from the movies that came before.
We have clues from movies that came before them, talking about The Mandalorian.
This, we know what's happening after.
We know what's happening after. And it's showing you right there. Star Wars is showing you what happens after. Right here, as he says that. So for anybody that is still hopeful that the sequel trilogy's not happening, it's already happened. It's coming. So what does that mean? Let's get into it. If you guys think back to a few years ago when Kathleen Kennedy rolled out on D20, whatever it was, and she talked about all the shows. We got the big, huge board with all the things going on. So much of that has not happened and will not happen. But one thing that she said, she talked about the climactic event. Now it's being reported that climactic event isn't happening. They've actually changed the words for this. Kathleen Kennedy called it a culminating climactic event. Favreau and Filoni aren't saying that. Here's what's happening. Now, this article comes all the way back to January of 2021. So we're talking about nearly 2.5 years ago, and this is when it was fresh. And here's Kennedy's quote. Here's what Kennedy said. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, these interconnected shows, along with future stories, will excite new audiences, embrace our most passionate fans, here it is, and will culminate in a climactic story event. Culminate means the ending. She was already thinking about the end. Here's all these stories. We're going to interconnect them, and they're going to end like Marvel did with Endgame. That was Star Wars' plan. Now that's not happening. That plan has definitely changed. Let's see what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are saying. Jon Favreau, weeks ago, talked about this very thing, that The Mandalorian will cross over with other Star Wars properties in Season 4. We know that they're going to cross over with Ahsoka. We know that they're going to cross over with Skeleton Crew. Rangers of the New Republic is done. And Favreau talked about how these stories are interconnecting and intersecting. He didn't say culminating. And here's his quote here. And then Dave's doing Ahsoka, which I'm producing with him, but he's the writer and showrunner on that. And so to understand what's happening on shows, or even Skeleton Crew, they all take place in the same universe, same time period. So there's a lot more things that we have to keep in mind and stuff that we've built up to from previous seasons of The Mandalorian as well. So that's Jon Favreau. They're interconnecting. This is it. Here's Dave Filoni today. In an interview that just came out today, Dave Filoni is talking about this crossover climactic event, but not culminating event. I think that the reality of there being a big event in this time period, the New Republic era, the Mandoverse, is very real, he says, is all I would say to that. I think that the reality of there being a big event in this time period is very real, is all I would say to that. IO9 goes on to apologize. They say apologize or apologies for being glib, but we here at IO9 know how to read between the lines of PR interview speak, and Filoni talking vaguely about the possibility of a crossover of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and perhaps the upcoming Skeleton Crew heading to one unified story is confirmation enough for us. Now, the people holding out hope that, once Kathleen Kennedy retires or once she's gone, Dave and Jon are going to be able to execute their plan. That is fool's gold. That is absolute fool's gold. Is it possible? Yeah, very, very small. Who's going to take over after Kathy? We don't know. What makes you think that Jon and Dave are going to do your plan and not execute this plan? They literally just said today, both of them, we know what comes after the Mandoverse. So it's clear, guys. It's clear what it is. It's clear what the plan is. Jon Favreau, he's already said it. We're going to sit right here in the Mando era as long as possible. As long as possible. Are they taking us to the sequels? Yes. It's going to be a very long process. They don't want to get there too fast. They're going to milk this Mandoverse, this New Republic era, as long as possible. He's talked about going on for 9 or 10 years if the fans support it. The original plan, 3 or 4 seasons, culminating activity, culminating event that Kathy Kennedy spoke of. That's not the plan anymore. They hit a grand slam with The Mandalorian that's keeping Star Wars afloat, that's keeping Lucasfilm relevant. I don't know after this last episode. But anyways, guys, that is exactly what is happening. The plan has changed, the focus has changed, the narrative has changed. But for the people who have been holding out hope that Star Wars is not heading to episodes 7, 8, and 9, which are absolute garbage crap, it's happening. It's happening. So if you have been waiting for the evidence, here it is. And, the way that The Mandalorian's looking, there's definitely some indicators that we might even be getting there sooner than later with all the cloning and things like that. So we're going to see how that goes. We're going to continue to report it to you. I know this news for a lot of you guys aren't going to be, this news isn't going to be like well met. This is kind of a downer for a lot of you. This is obvious news. What else were they going to do? What you didn't think that they were going to retcon or give us an alternate reality, and it definitely appears that you're right. So anyways, let us know in the comments what you think. We'll see you guys Saturday night as we have an incredible show lined up. We're going to be talking about all things Mandalorian. A lot of you guys are going to have disagreements about our takes. We're going to disagree on your take. A lot of us are going to agree. A lot of us, it just is what it is. But we're going to respect your opinions, and we cannot wait to have that show with you. We are Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you. We'll see you guys on the next one.